An economist is researching wage differentials in various industries across Zambia. The study aims to understand how different market structures, such as competitive markets, monopsony, and monopoly, influence wage determination. The research focuses on comparing wages in urban and rural areas and identifying the factors that lead to wage differentials. This information will help in formulating policies to address wage disparities and improve living standards. Okay, A. Explain the theory of wage determination in a competitive factor market. Okay, so basically, wage determination, this occurs where labor supply equals labor demand. All right, where labor supply equals labor demand. So basically, what I'm saying is this: this is the wage, this is the quantity, number of workers. You have labor demand, and you have labor supply. Okay, so let's say this is the industry for a bank tailor. All right, so if a bank teller is getting 10,000 per month, okay, it's because supply of bank tellers and the demand for bank tellers has reached equilibrium. It's equal. Okay, so the wage for the bank teller is now 10,000 kwacha. Unless maybe in Zambia we've got maybe 100,000 bank tellers. Okay. So 100,000 bank tellers are getting 10,000 per month. Okay, that is the theory of wage determination, where labor supply equals labor demand. Who supplies the labor? Workers. The higher the wage, the more supply. The lower the wage, the less the supply. Who demands labor? It's the firms. The higher the wage, the firms want less workers. Okay. The lower the wage, the firms want more workers. Okay. Yes. Any questions, colleagues, on this? Okay. So basically, here in a competitive market, wages are determined by the interaction of labor demand and supply. Okay. Employers demand labor, workers supply labor. The wage settles at the point where labor demand equals labor supply. So this is the equilibrium wage. And at this point, there is no shortage of workers, no surplus of workers, and the wage is stable. Okay. Okay. We go to part B. Explain the impact of monopsony power on wage determination and employment levels in Zambia's rural areas. So, colleagues, a monopsony, right? This is where there's only one employer, and this employer has the power to pay whatever they want to pay. Okay, that is a monopsony. Okay, so think of a rural area, maybe here in Zambia. Then let's say a construction company goes there and establishes a premises there, right? Then there'll be a monopsony because they are the only one who's offering that type of work in that area, right? So now they'll be able to charge as much as they want. Okay, so a monopsony is a market where there is only one main employer. Okay, in rural Zambia, this can happen where you have one large farm, one mining company, okay, one big hospital or government employer. All right. So now these are some of the effects. Okay. So the employer pays lower wages because workers have few alternatives. Especially, let's say the best example is this one where let's say a commercial farm comes in a certain rural area. and then they start hiring workers at that commercial farm. And then at that commercial farm, since they know that they are the only employer in that area, they can pay workers low wages. Because they know workers, it's either you work at this farm or you just what's this, do nothing basic or find a job somewhere else. Okay. Employment levels are lower than in competitive markets. Yes, because since it's just one frame, so the number of workers is going to be less than in a competitive market. In a competitive market, there are a lot of frames that are hiring. Okay, so the employment levels are bigger because there are many firms hiring, right? The competitive market just where there are many firms hiring people. Okay, and there the firms don't determine the wages. Okay, it's the market that determines the wages for the competitive market. Okay, this one here where you said where the labor supply and labor demand equal, that's the wage rate. That this is for the competitive market where there are many firms hiring. Okay, yes. Workers have limited bargaining power, so yes, there are no trade unions that you can go to. Okay, if you strike, you know that you'll be replaced by other workers from that area. All right, so there's limited bargaining power. Unlike in the competitive market, if conditions are bad, you can go to the trade unions, all right, complain about that, yeah, and those trade unions will see how they can help you. Trade unions or government. Okay. People may accept low pay because there are no other jobs. Okay. Yes. So basically, all in all, in a monopsony, there are less workers than in a competitive market, and the workers are paid less than in a competitive market. Okay, colleagues, any questions? All right, just excuse me for 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. Sorry about that. Okay, so effect of monopsony power on labor market outcomes. Okay, a monopsony employer has strong control over wages and employment because workers have limited options. As I said, if a one commercial farm goes in a rural place, all right, a rural area, there are no other commercial farms. That farm, they'll pay the workers what they want to pay them, all right, and they're only going to employ the number of workers that they need. Okay. Now, those workers are at a disadvantage, okay, because they'll be paid lower wages than in a competitive market. In a competitive market, for example, if let's say there are now 10 commercial farms in that rural area, okay, there now is a competitive market, all right. Their workers now can be paid more because there are 10 commercial farms. Now, when there's only one commercial farm, that farm they'll pay whatever they want. Versus when there are 10 commercial farms where now the the labor market will determine the wage. Lower employment levels. All right, yes. So If there are 10 commercial firms, the employment will be higher than versus when there's one commercial farm. Okay, maybe that commercial farm, when it's one commercial farm, it just needs 50 workers. Okay, but let's say if there are 10 of those commercial farms, they might need a total of maybe 1,000 workers. So employment levels differ between a competitive market and a monopsony. Because the monopsony, they just need only the workers they need. They are the only firm in that market. So the employment levels will be low. Okay. Wage setting power. Okay, yeah. The monopsonist firm sets the wages, not the market. Okay. Yes. If there are 20 commercial farms there, then the market determines the wages. Now, if there's one commercial farm, they will determine. Labor exploitation risk. Yes. This single employer can exploit their workers. Okay. Pay them low wages to work for more hours. Okay. They may not provide safe conditions for working. All right. There are no unions you can go to complain to. All right. If you quit your job, you'll stop making money and just get back to normal subsistence farming, which maybe is not even paying you, is not giving you as good money as the one other that you're being paid from your employer. So you'd rather not go back to subsistence farming and you'd rather stay with your employer. At least you'll be earning money. Okay. Yes. Those are some of the. There are more. Okay. Like there are more, but I'll let you read this. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. So, conclusion: monopsony power leads to lower wages, fewer jobs, and unfair labor outcomes, especially in rural areas where workers have limited employment choices. Okay. Okay, question D. Factors. Oh, let's see. Wait. You could have done. We did B and we did C. So D. Analyze the factors contributing to wage differentials across the different industries and occupations in Zambia. Okay. So, as stated earlier, wage differentials are just the difference in pay between certain jobs. Okay. Because remember, not all jobs, it's impossible for all jobs to be paying you the same wage. Okay. There are going to be differences. So that's the wage differential. Differences in pay between workers or industries. Okay. Certain industries will pay you higher than other industries. Okay. Certain positions will pay you higher than other positions. So the factors that contribute to this is number one, education and skills. All right. So someone who has got a degree, uh, versus someone who has got a master's, their pay is going to be different because of their education and skills. Okay. Experience. Okay. Also, experience can be a reason of thing. Workers with more experience earn higher wages due to efficiency and knowledge. Okay. But this experience should also have a qualification attached to it, because usually what happens is one person can have experience versus one person with the qualification. All the time they'll choose the one with the qualification over the one. So this experience, you're saying you have the qualifications, yes, and you have been in the field for a longer time. Okay. Yes. Yes. Industry differences. Okay. Yes. So certain industries will pay more than others. It's in the nature of the job. Okay. The nature of the job. Labor supply and demand. If workers are scarce, wages increase so that the firm can attract as many people as it needs. Okay? If workers are many, wages will decrease. Okay? Job risk and working conditions. Okay? Dangerous jobs usually pay more. Why? Because there's a risk. So you get higher than someone who is doing a less dangerous job. Okay. For example, a bus driver versus a pilot. The pilot has got more risks involved versus a bus driver. So the pilot will get high. Yes. So there are many others which you can read. Okay. Many others. But basically what we're saying, wage differences in Zambia are caused by skills, industry type, location, labor demand or supply, and institutional factors, leading to inequality in earnings across workers. As I said earlier on, it's, it's not realistic to pay everyone the same wage.